Hello everyone. Today we'll be presenting our work at the University of Leeds of digitizing our archive at the university and making more engaging and accessible work. My name is Harith Ibrahim. I'm a robotics engineer and I've joined the Digital Creativity and Cultures Hub at the university, and our mission is to explore the intersection between cultural heritage and technology to make the archives more accessible, engaging and interactive. Today we'll be exploring two different projects at the university. First of which is our approach at digitizing the university's coin collection. And also the second project is about sonifying textile patterns, so turning patterns of textiles into sounds. Finally, we'll explain some of the challenges, machine learning integration, and how all of this fits into IIIF. First, before delving into the use cases, I want to make a clarification about the use of machine learning in cultural heritage. It's important that new technologies are addressed with care because these generative AI models, they tend to hallucinate. I wanted to include these horrific restoration pieces on the right side, and I think they're a great example of what could happen when AI is misused. So over here in the bottom, you see a picture of a pixelated giraffe and a machine learning model that does super resolution that's mostly trained on faces, and it generates this output, which is very different from what it's supposed to be. This is an extreme example, but it shows that with machine learning, this must be handled with care and transparency. So when we use machine learning in our work, we make sure that we're using it for interpretation rather than invention, and we're always clear and transparent about using it. First of all, starting with the coin digitization project, the University of Leeds has a wide coin collection spanning many different cultures and eras. And the challenge with scanning coins is that they are very reflective objects. They are very difficult to scan with traditional scanning techniques like photogrammetry and LiDAR because they are reflective. They add glare, and these shiny surfaces are very difficult to scan and provide correct surface geometry. So the challenge here, usually this is dealt with by matting these coins by spraying some matting spray, but this is very invasive, and we don't want to apply this approach to our very precious collection. So first we started by taking the image collection we already have and testing different software to see if we can turn these into curvature maps, which basically capture the 3D details. We tested many different software, and some of them focus on traditional mathematical approaches of capturing depth, and some of them use machine learning. We found that some of them work better than the rest, but at the end of the day, whilst they look good, they weren't geometrically accurate to our standard for archiving. So we moved to a different approach, which is depth maps. Depth maps are a way in computer graphics of representing depth information in a black and white image. So the white part of an image represents high areas and the dark ones represents depth. So this is mostly used in video games, and it's quite like low on computation, and we really want to explore it. The issue when we tested it is that most of the AI models, we tested a few algorithms, but the AI approaches weren't very fit for our scenario. Most of these models are trained on landscape photos, so images of exteriors, interiors, and they're not trained on close-ups of images, so mostly images with a horizon line. So when you apply this to an image like our coins here, most of the detail is lost. And even with post-processing, it didn't work, and we thought like we need to switch approaches. Luckily, we found a more traditional approach. We went back and we found photometric stereo. This was used to capture details in many 3D surfaces. So the way it works, you capture multiple images of the same object with different lighting angles, and this way you could basically, we're using thresholding and image processing, you can capture what's called a normal map, which represents curvature. We use that to generate our depth maps, which are way more accurate, resulting in these coins. So you see here, these images were taken just with my phone, and we want to take this to the next level. So we created our own custom scanner. So using like a camera with a micro lens, polarizing filters, RGB strips, we created a very cheap solution for scanning these coins. If you look at RTI scanners, they have tens of cameras and lights, and they at least cost £10,000. And this is a solution like for coins that would just cost under 40. So to show that how it works, on the inside, we have an RGB strip, and the lights in the RGB strip move around, lighting the coin from different directions. And then at these increments, we're taking these pictures. So literally, you just place this on top of your coin, and it will basically get you all the information you need. We're quite happy with the details we got. Like this is one of our options that we got out. This 3D model captures the details the way we want it. And this is a curved coin. It's not a flat coin. So like getting this information can be difficult in other approaches. And we're quite happy with the results. Of course, there are limitations. So rich information, like especially when the coin is flat, isn't captured. And also, it's only capturing one side of the coin. And these are issues we want to address in future iterations of the scanner. But we think this is a great step forward in scanning. Moving on to our second project. So we went to explore the textile collection at the University of Leeds. The University of Leeds, formerly Yorkshire College, is a hub for textile information on the creation of different textiles and weaves. We've read through several pattern books, and they go into the mathematical and the specifics on how these weaves are made. And just by looking at them, we actually observed there were some similarities because of how the mathematical nature of it and the geometry. They're quite similar to cymatic patterns. These are patterns generated where sound frequencies are applied to surfaces. And these create these very beautiful, intricate patterns. And we thought there might be a relation here. So we approached the idea of, let's take these patterns and create a method of actually, rather than getting the sound turned to a pattern, we turn the patterns into sound, basically reversing the process. So we studied Ernest Chladni's work, which is basically, he documented many different frequencies applied and the resulting patterns. And we were able to infer this mathematical equation using sine waves, and this is a simulation we created. This represents two waves interacting with each other, and the points of interaction between waves, where they interact, they can increase and they can cancel out each other, causing these beautiful patterns. So next we thought, okay, we need to turn now our patterns to these sounds. And the difficult thing here, we tried a few approaches, and the first one was an iterative approach. So we come up with a random pattern, a random sound, and then we compare it to the image. And then we modify it, compare again. It's like an optimization problem. Issue with this, while it's scientifically sound, it takes a lot of time. And it's computationally expensive, so it's not practical to use. So we switched to machine learning. The cool thing about this project, like we said, is more about interpretation. So we're not actually affecting historical knowledge and changing the meaning of existing work. So the plan here is to get these pattern images, put them in the model, and get out frequency sounds of the two interacting waves. We use a convolutional neural network. This is quite used in the industry for image processing. They're very good at capturing patterns, details, textures, and we thought it would be a great start. The issue with these models is that they require a large data set. And if you look online, there is no data sets for Chladni patterns in their sounds. So, of course, we created our own data set. We created a data set of over 40,000 Chladni patterns with the equation we created and with their corresponding frequencies. Of course, the data set is available online to use, so anyone's free to use it in their own work. So the results of the training found that the colored patterns were basically more effective at capturing the sounds than the black and white ones because it provides more information. Moving on, we will show some of the results we have. So first of all, this is some of the machine learning. So we took some patterns and we turned them into sound. Let's see if that... And we also compared it to a software called Photosounder, which uses spectrograms to turn these patterns into sound. And this provided us with different results. We showed this last year at IIIF. Yeah. So with these results, we found that our approach is more melodic, while Photosounder is more aligned with the structure. And this will provide us with different methods of interpreting this in the future. Smooth. Yeah. So we created a website that everyone can access. In this website, you can create your own patterns. You can test out generating them with different colors, and you can even import your own images and turn them into sounds. So please feel free to try it. We also presented our work at the IIIF conference last year, and it was a great honor to be there. And we believe that IIIF, especially with the new features added, such as the 3D support and the sound support, it would be great help for us to include this work and be able to share it with everyone. In conclusion, we were able to achieve 2 projects, basically, focusing on multi-modal ways of showing the archive, such as sonifying our patterns and 3D scanning our coins. So please feel free to check out our article that we created and the podcast focusing on these projects. And also, I would like to thank everyone who helped us at the university and the DCCH for making all of this possible. And of course, we thank the IIIF conference. And I will be happy to answer any questions afterwards. And thank you.